Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another video here on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. So this week we're going to be talking all about drones, orbs, potentially Project Bluebeam, that kind of thing. We're going to see what comes through about what's really going on, if there's any updates that I can bring through with you about that situation. And then next week we're going to be doing our 2025 predictions videos. So hold tight for that. I wanted to cover this first, and then we'll definitely get into our 2025 like predictions and kind of just like any messages, any guidance for 2025 that wants to come through for everybody as well. So that will be really helpful. So before we jump into this week's video, please remember to like, share this video, subscribe to the channel for new videos every week. And thank you for being so patient with me. I know I missed last week. It was COVID. I spelled that on this because I've had videos taken down just from saying the word. So, but yeah, that was like very sick for weeks. So thank you for being patient. I'm back. I'm definitely feeling better, not 100%, but better. And I want to talk all about this. So get comfy, grab your cozy drink, whatever you need, and we're going to jump right into the video. So the first thing that I wanted to say was that the drones, like when I'm tuning into the drones, because there's lots of things happening in the sky. We have a mixed sky right now. When I'm tuning into what is like obviously drones, I'm just getting military. I'm just getting like our government is just, this is theirs, right? This is not extraterrestrial at all. This is 100% human military. There's no question about that. But the thing is, why? Why are there all of a sudden all these drones in the sky, and why are they not just saying that it's theirs? So the reason why is what happened was they were actually going to go ahead with Project Bluebeam, which, by the way, if I can just say, that has been censored. It's already, the censorship is starting. So very 2020 vibes. I know that you guys have heard me say 2025 is going to be like 2020. It's going to feel so familiar because there's going to be a worldwide event that changes the world, and it's going to be extremely like censored and extremely like fact checked and all of that. It's 2020 vibes happening all over again. So already the hashtag on Instagram Project Bluebeam is gone. So you have to say like just Bluebeam if you want to, but even that is kind of risky of getting shadow banned for sure. So we have to get creative when we're trying to tag things so that people can all kind of find it. But just the reason I'm bringing that up is, why do you think that is? Like, they always censor things that are hitting too close to the truth. Another thing that was censored was an orb video where a woman is actually talking to this orb, and it's like responding to her with like shimmering lights, and like it's very friendly looking in the video. It's very cute. It's very friendly looking. I don't think I can link it now anymore, but I recorded it on my own phone and saved it, so I can, maybe I'll try to splice it into this video somewhere where you can see it. But basically she's like talking to it about Jesus, like Jesus loves me, and it gets all cute and shimmery. So why would that be censored all of a sudden? Like, trying to find that now is impossible, and the original links don't work, because this little orb is being adorable and loving and not threatening at all. And that doesn't fit the narrative, right? The narrative for Project Bluebeam is that we're in the middle of an intergalactic war, and that the drones are, well, okay, we don't know what they're going to say about the drones. I was just going to say that the drones are clearly military. I think everyone knows that. But that the drones are going to, you know, be our way of fighting back against this like invasion, alien invasion, basically. So that's what's going on with the drones. So the drones are in the sky, like end of year, November, December kind of thing. And they're not claiming that they're theirs yet because they're trying to like find the right narrative and how it's all going to work. But the military, the shadow governments and all of that were going to go ahead with Project Bluebeam. That was like a go. Okay, we're going to go ahead with this at the end of the year. coming into a new year. It might have to do with like the presidency coming to an end and somebody new coming in. But basically, this is something that they've been wanting to do for a long time. So if they get a bunch of like drones in the sky and some look a lot different than others, then they can make it look like there's some kind of a clash or some kind of a battle going on, right? They can make it look like these ones are attacking these ones, and they can just make it look like we're being attacked as humanity or invaded as humanity. So they were basically going to start with drones and then escalate to releasing from their underground military bases the ships that they have built. So they've reverse engineered ships from alien crash sites, right? So that was going to be like phase 2 of Project Bluebeam. And reverse engineered just means that they have the crashed alien ship and they have to like see it all put together and then kind of like reverse, how do we get started with this and engineer it from something that's already complete versus a blueprint. That's all that means. And so they were going to, it was going to be like, look a lot like alien craft. Obviously it is alien craft, but they've replicated it. So that's really where they were going to be like, okay, those are the aliens invading. And it would have looked very real. I mean, obviously, if they're replicating alien craft, what do you think people are going to think? And that if they start attacking the drones, which we all kind of know are our own military, and that it's just some kind of a hush hush thing, why they're not saying that why they're in the skies or whatever. So this would have been a false flag alien invasion. This would have been like a parody, like a charade in the skies that they play out. And they were going to use this to incite worldwide fear. Why do they always want to create fear? It's a low vibration that keeps people under control. When people are in fear, they fight each other. When people are in fear, they're happy to take new laws and government orders because that makes them feel safe. When people are in fear, all of that low vibrational, like loosh energy feeds the literal matrix programming that we say we don't want. So like all of these lower energies are feeding a system that we're trying to outgrow and that we're trying to ascend beyond. It also would have created grabs for control of the government. So more laws, more control, and costing us freedom. Again, 2020 vibes, this time the freedom being traveling in the sky at all. Like no more airplanes. Can you imagine? Like no more any of that. For how long did COVID go on for? Like 4 years? Like imagine that. And who knows how long that would go on for. So this is, and of course the elites don't play by the rules, so they can still do whatever they want. But like regular people all of a sudden can't fly anywhere. Like that's crazy. That's a crazy grab of human freedom. And so here's what's happening. So there is, as you know, I know that you know this, that there is a non-interference rule, and that's why aliens can't just disclose themselves, even if they want to, like a nice group of Pleiadians or something. There's a non-interference rule. They can't just like show themselves to the collective, though they have done personal disclosures to certain people for sure, but they can't just make themselves known to the entire collective of their own volition. They can't just do that because they want to. But if our governments were going to create a disclosure of sorts by saying we're being attacked by aliens, even though it's not real, even though it's their own craft that they've created from alien crash sites, but if they were going to create worldwide disclosure, then this non-interference law doesn't apply anymore. It becomes moot because, well, you've already said aliens are real and you've even pretended to be us in the skies. So whatever, whatever negative kind of reaction that the collective would have by an alien collective encounter where everyone in the whole world sees it, you're taking advantage of that and doing it anyway. So then we can show ourselves at that point. So that whole law doesn't matter anymore, which is great for us and for real disclosure. So the second that our governments pulled the trigger on Project Bluebeam, the second they launched the first drones into the sky with the intention that they were going to say this and do this and create this, it was fair game for now any aliens to make themselves seen. But the problem is if they just send in alien ships and then the government has alien ships, and they all kind of look somewhat similar, maybe, even if they don't even look that similar, it's going to be very confusing narrative for humans to know who's telling the truth, right? How would we know? Yeah, literally, I mean, unless you're a channeler, but like, how would people look at the skies and see ships, alien ships attacking other alien looking ships? I mean, or attacking the drones. Like, it's just, that would just make it so confusing for people. How do we tell our ships from theirs? So instead, something very different came into our skies. And this is where orbs all of a sudden start showing up. So people are seeing orbs in the sky, and they look like these plasma balls of electricity, and they look like these balls of light. But the crazy thing is they're not just floating around like mindless. They're conscious beings. They're sentient beings. They're thinking, feeling, like conscious beings. They're souls. And you're basically looking at like a soul without a physical form. It's unencumbered by this physical form. It's just a pure soul, but surrounded by like a lot of energy and a lot of electricity, right? So by our higher dimensional councils, galactic federations, and councils for the good of humanity, making that decision, you know what? Then we'll send in orbs, right? We'll send in alien beings that are not craft, alien beings that are clearly not from Earth, so it's still disclosure, but that can't be confused for anything else, right? They don't look like anything else, basically. So what they sent in and what has arrived in our skies, I mean, there's not a lot of videos of this yet from the date that I'm filming this, but I have seen 2 that are genuine, and I will try to share those in some way in this video.
Can you talk to me? Can you hear me? Jesus loves me. Oh, you know Jesus. You know Jesus. Jesus is awesome, isn't he? Yes, he is. God is good. God is good. God is good.
And Bill and Sandra, when things like this are happening, it seems everyone starts to look up, like my crew and I have been here in Mendham recording this video that you're looking at right now. We have no idea what it is, if it's a natural phenomenon, because it could be, but this is why so many municipalities are now asking people to reach out and send their videos to them or to experts who might be able to sort out what they're seeing in the skies. But I guarantee there's so many people looking up and making those recordings because this mystery is one that needs to be solved. For now, they're
non-physical entities. They're aliens. These are beings. These are not ships, okay? These are not, like everyone's saying, like Merkaba, or like, no, it's the actual being itself that looks like this. But they are not, like, a lot of people are getting freaked out and pulling out the Bible and talking about like the way that seraphim look, like wheels within wheels. Oh my God, is it the seraphim angels? Oh my God, is it Armageddon? Oh my God, is this the end of times? I channeled that they are not seraphim. They are not even archangels. Archangels are like 12D, seraphim are like 14D or even higher. It's actually much closer to us than that, these alien beings. They're telling me that they're like 7th and 8th dimensional beings that are visiting our skies. And the thing is, in every dimension, there are beings that are non-physical. Like, think about ghosts, okay? They still exist. They're still souls. They're still there. I'm not comparing them to ghosts. I'm just saying in our dimensional frequency, it would be like ghosts. But in like, even in higher dimensions, you don't necessarily have to have a physical form if you don't want to, right? There's always going to be some form of magical sprite or orb or, you know, ball of light or something. And you see that often. And so it's a higher dimensional being that's just chosen not to have a physical incarnation. But it's not, again, it's not a seraphim. So you could still call it, I mean, like when they were telling me about it, I was actually hearing the term seventh 7D angelic, seventh dimensional angelic. So it's kind of like an angelic being, but in the seventh dimension, not the high angels. Okay, so basically, you know, this is what they sent in, and these are the kind of beings that are stepping forward to us to kind of like throw a wrench into the works of Project Bluebeam. And it did work, because now the drones are just like following them around, like, okay, now what do we do? They're probably thinking like, how, but the dark thing is they're already thinking about, how can we fit this into our narrative? How can we make them look aggressive? What happens if we attack them? What happens if we shoot at them? Which they've done. How can we replicate our own orbs? Which I've seen them try to do with just light, but it's not the same. When you zoom in on it, it's not see-through with all of these electric moving parts. It's just a light. So we have to be very discerning of what we think are orbs. Like, make sure when you're looking at it, it's not just like a floodlight kind of thing. So they're already looking at, how can we use this to our advantage? How can we make this fit the narrative that we're trying to tell? So discernment. Something very interesting is that when the drones come into the energy field of the actual orbs, the real orbs, like the alien beings, it deactivates the drone and they just fall out of the sky. So now they've learned that they're staying back a little further. And like them being deactivated feels like glitching their frequency, right? If something is a very high vibrational frequency and then something lower vibe or mechanical flies in, it probably just like short circuits it in some way, because it's such a high frequency. I certainly don't think it's an aggressive act. So even though this is really exciting that we've seen a couple of instances of something real in the skies, not just this man-made drone stuff or man-made ships that are soon to come, I'm telling you, you're going to see this where these reverse engineered alien crafts just come out of nowhere and probably fly in formation, and then the drones in them start to battle. It's not real. It is so important that you don't fall for this. Don't fall for it this time, okay? Like, this is just another scheme. This is just another plot for them. And it's really important for us to just like, I mean, for me personally, like, how can I discern whether, you know, this is a holographic orb made by a government or like the real thing? I would say for me, I'm using like clairsentience a lot, because energy has a feeling to it. So again, train up your clairs, because that to me is discernment. So clairsentience, when you're watching the video, what do you feel? Claircognizance, when you're watching the video, what do you know to be true, right? And if you really want to be careful that you're not watching an AI video, that you're not watching some kind of advanced hologram, and you don't want to be tricked, create a sacred space around yourself, and then ask for, as you're watching the video, the truth to come in and flood your body, the information and the truth. And then you're tuning into clairsentience and claircognizance for this. For watching things online, it's not so much clairvoyance or clairaudience. It's definitely the feeling of the energy and the deep knowing of what is true. So remember, we're seeing a mixed sky right now, fake and real, right? So I'm hearing now that they still are planning to go through with Project Bluebeam, that these orbs were like a distraction for sure, but that they're going to just kind of like keep steamrolling ahead with their plans. That it was important to them to get something started before the new president comes in for whatever reason. There's like a weak spot in the government when one's ending and one's beginning. It's like a window to make something happen. And that we are basically on the brink of an intergalactic war, but it's false. it's not true. That the way that they're going to portray it in the skies is a charade. It's not true. So again, just be so aware of this, because it's going to happen. The ships are definitely going to be brought out of the underground. Militaries, they're showing me that they're already, they do test flights with them already at nighttime. And they're going to make some kind of grand reveal around this. And that's when the military will finally be ready to make a statement, right? Which will also be false. The statement will come when the ships appear, and that statement will be just straight up programming. Well, we couldn't say about what we were doing in the skies with the drones because of this, we were trying to protect you from this or this or this. But now that we're, experiencing this hostile, potential takeover or attempt at a takeover, we can let you know this is how we're trying to protect you, and bullshit, basically. So you can expect the ships to be released. You can expect the military to make a statement at that point. When they make a statement, that's the sign that things are about to ramp up. So you can look for that. Let me see if there's anything else about this. They're saying that any true disclosures that will be coming through, like real aliens, will try to not appear anything like this. So no ships at all, beings that can just kind of like portal into our reality in some way. So maybe real angels at a certain point, certainly orb-like beings, beings made of light, beings made of plasma, beings that look different enough from the craziness that we won't be confused, and we can see and feel and know that it's something real, and that will give us hope, and that will be a good thing for us to have hope. If the government gets its way, you can certainly see that there's going to be a clampdown on flights, like all of a sudden very limited, and their wishes would be that it gets down to like none. So we can't let that happen. That's like, oh, I just don't even know like how that would just affect everybody so much. That's just so dangerous to be in a position where that's taken away, because you can't get away, you can't go anywhere, you can't visit your family. Like that would just be so awful. So, and definitely this is not fear mongering. This is let's not let that happen. It's so important for you not to fall for it, because if we fall for it as a collective, the play they're about to put on in the skies, then that's exactly what the outcome will be. And so what can we do? So you need to be willing to speak your truth online and not be so afraid of being judged by others, right? What does it matter at this point? Like, as starseeds, for some reason, we have this real like people pleaser kind of thing. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of us. And there's this fear of judgment or fear of not fitting in. You need to really let that go for 2025. You need to speak your truth loud and proud, and don't look at the comment section. It doesn't matter, because the only people that tend to comment are the ones that have a problem. But for every troll, there's 10 people that it helps. So you just need to understand that they might not comment or click like, but you're helping so many people. Just trust in that. I really can speak from like personal experience on this, having stuff go viral pretty regularly and seeing that all the comments are trash, yet your follower count's just going up and up and up and up. So someone's enjoying it, someone's getting something from it, right? The reason why they're wanting to bring that in is because we need to speak to like logic, and we need to speak to the spiritual, hopeful aspect of, like, no, this is not an alien invasion. I'm not falling for it. On one hand, like, don't fall for this. We need to shine the light on this, right? Without getting into anger, because that feeds the system. We don't want to be feeding that. So remember, it's not about getting angry. Sacred rage is different than rage. Sacred rage is where you, and 2025, I already did like a mini little predictions on Instagram. I predicted that the theme of 2025 is going to be sacred rage, where you're so fed up with something, like with the government and with this bullshit and with the collective for always falling for it, that it really moves you into action. So sacred rage can be very moving energy, which is fantastic. It can help people come together and create some kind of like a better result. But just make sure you're on the sacred side of your rage and not the beast mode. Beast mode is just angry, wanting to fight with everybody, arguing in the online comments. If you're doing that, you miss the mark. Sacred rage is about ignoring the duality of the collective that wants to fight and speaking above that and not getting into the underneath energy, just speaking above that, shining your light, speaking to the people that are willing to listen and hear and not worrying about the rest. Like, listen, I know that this is not what they're saying it is. Here's why. Here's what it really is. Here's what we can do together. You know, let's arrange things like group meditations, group healings, group peaceful protests. That still works. Online peaceful protests, however that might look, in-person ones, and then also like the welcoming in of what you feel are the real alien disclosures, the real beings that are here to shine their love and hope and not participating in the other stuff in the skies, the ones that are just kind of like in the videos of the just like, you know, sauntering in like cute little orbs that really don't fit the narrative but are perfect for what we're trying to show is like, this is what an alien really is. This is something loving. This is something that is just here to show its support without getting involved, kind of thing. So I think we have a really, really big year ahead, and I know that we do. And I really hope and pray that there's so many people that are done with falling for things, and there's so many people that have heard of Project Bluebeam for years that they recognize it, and that we don't lose our rights to flights and airplane travel. That's my hope, and I'm going to keep talking about it and sticking with that, and I hope that you talk about it too. I hope that you tell the truth of what's in your heart without worrying about what people, if they agree or not. Who cares? We're so far beyond that. And we need everybody. We need every hand on deck. We need every soul that is actually really awakened to this information, that can speak from a place of love and calm. We need you. So please, you don't have to have some big spiritual page to speak on this. Just speak on it, but do it online. Do it in person too, for sure, but do it online where it can help the most amount of people, because that's a world of its own, isn't it? So anyway, I'll leave it there for now. I'll certainly post any kind of updates. You can come here for updates. You can follow me on Instagram if you're not yet. Definitely make sure you follow me over there, because a lot of stuff happens over there in reels and in the stories. And next week you can look forward to finally my 2025 predictions video, which will probably be talking about some of this stuff anyway, right? Certainly we'll be talking about some of this stuff. So thank you so much. And if you are wanting to really beef up your discernment, I would recommend beefing up your clairs, okay? Clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. These four, if you master the clairs, you cannot be fooled. It's the foundation of every psychic gift, including the channeling that I do. I have a course all on the clairs, 44 lessons. It's not just lessons either. It's also the energy work, like the removal of psychic blocks, the upgrade of the pineal gland, like the reconnections of your psychic centers. It's so much. And it is 25% off until the end of the month. So just for a couple more days. And then it's going to go back to its regular price. So if you're ready and you want to grab that, then I think the link should be in the description of this video. Go ahead and grab that, get 25% off, lifetime access. You will not regret getting that. And I'm certain that you will be watching many of the things over and over to really drill into yourself the way that these languages work, the languages of the clairs, and making sure that you're using that for 2025, because it could not be more timely. So go ahead and grab that if you haven't, and I will see you all next week with the 2025 predictions. I love you all so much. Thank you. And before you go, please remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within. because you are so much more than the body you are in. I love you, beautiful starseed. Bye.